everybody. It's Connie Stewart with simplysimplestamping.com. Welcome everyone to a new Tuesday tip video. So for today, I have a very clever technique to teach you. I'm going to show you how to make a really unique card featuring the Elegant Edge tag punch or any of your tag punches. Guys, this one is so fantastic. I've got lots of tips and tricks to share with you. So let's get started. I absolutely love creating cards with my tag topper punches. You know, there's been a lot of punches over the years. This one is called the Elegant Edge tag topper. And can you see what we did? We're just creating a really unique card. So it's going to tie here on the side. Open it up. There's where our message is going to go. But you know what a unique way to use this punch rather than just creating tags. We're going to create both cards today. We're going to start with our Happy Birthday Queen Bee. I'm going to start with a piece of bubble bath cardstock, and this is cut 5.5 by 8.5, but do not do any scoring on this piece of cardstock. There's some special scoring instructions that'll be coming here in just a minute. I'm going to be using some wild wheat cardstock today. Can I just be honest? This was not one of my favorite colors, but I'm kind of learning that this color is going to pick up the colors that you use with it. So I have a piece of wild wheat that is 4 by 5.25. I have another one that is 2.5 by 5.25. The last thing we're going to need, I'm going to use some Very Vanilla. So let's see, this first piece, this is a 3 3/4 by 5. I have a 2.25 by 5. And then I've just got some scraps, all right? Just scraps that we're going to use to create the sentiment. As I said, we're going to be using the stamp set Queen Bee and, of course, that Elegant Tag Topper or Elegant Edge Tag Topper. So let's start with our tips and tricks for creating that wonderful little edge. Typically, when you use this punch, you will have to have a piece of 2-inch cardstock to slide into this groove. That's where we're going to get a little creative today. So I'm going to take my cardstock, and you want to take it kind of slow because we're sort of going against what the punch is meant to do. So you can see how I slid that all the way in there. I'm going to flip my punch down, and I'm going to just kind of make sure this is going to confirm that my cardstock is totally flat. I've got my cardstock pushed in as far as it will go, and I'm going to give this a punch. And we have that. I'm going to rotate my cardstock around, and I'm going to do that same thing again. So just gently slide your cardstock in there, flip your punch down. You know, the benefit of this trick is no tick marks and any of that. No, this is guaranteed to be right where you need it. I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and we're going to do just a little bit of cutting. So I need to trim this and this off, all right? And there's really not like an exact science to where it's going to be. It's going to be a little less than 3/4 of an inch. And you'll be able to see there in the track where that cutting blade is going to go. So I'm going to just bring my cutting blade up. You're going to feel it kind of let loose. And let me find it. Oh, there we go. It just kind of releases because we don't want to cut off our pretty little tag. But you see how we just removed that? Now we're going to do the same thing up here. Again, you're just going to kind of feel it. And that one is done. Let's turn this around, and we're going to repeat that again. So again, it's 3/4, and it's just like one little hair less. All right, so when we punch these, we should have what I'm going to call pretty side up. You know, this side back here is where the punch went through. It's not as pretty, so let's make sure we have pretty side up. And we're going to use this side as our scoring guide. So I want to put this over here at 4.25 inch. All right, so I need this section to be 4.25. Let's make sure that cutting blade is out of the way because we just want to score. And you see we're going to get this. Now I need this little piece. I need it to fold over too, right? So I'm going to pop this back into my scoring tool, and I'm just going to give that a little score so that I can fold that one over. And now, do you see? No tick marks needed. These are perfectly lined up. You gotta love how easy that is. I'm going to give these score lines a nice crease. You can see this is the beginning of our card. Now it's time to do some stamping. I'm going to focus on two ink pad colors today, Crumb Cake and Wild Wheat. I'm going to start here with my Crumb Cake. And as I said, we're going to be using the Queen Bee set. Now, I've gone ahead just to make things a little easier. I went ahead and just put both of my images. This is the bee and that floral. Now the bee is not going to fill up all the space, but I'm just going to give that a little stamp right here on that. That would be the 2 1/4 Very Vanilla. Now this stamp set is all about collage, and can I be honest, collage is not my best art. I have always struggled with it, but I was quite proud of how this one turned out. So I'm going to ink up this is just kind of a little word and speckle stamp, and I want to stamp off once because I want this to be a little bit lighter. Do you see how I'm doing that? Stamp off on my card. And I'm just kind of, basically, I'm just filling in, but I do want that to be a little bit lighter. Now, don't let that Crumb Cake ink pad get too far away. We're going to come back to it, but I'm going to bring in a couple Stampin' Write markers. So I have the Bubble Bath and the Soft Sea Foam. And friends, this is so easy. We're just going to color in these flowers here just to make them look a little pretty, kind of help them to pop. And also we'll color in that little heart there on our Queen Bee. And with that soft sea foam, we'll just get the leaves. Let's have some fun with a small blending brush. So the blending brush is what's going to kind of help give this a nice vintagey feel. So I'm just going to tap that there on my ink pad, and I'm going to rub some of this off because it's pretty dark and I want this to be nice and subtle. And I'm just rubbing this over my two focal images here. So over that bee, and now over my flower image. It just is going to, like I said, it's just going to give it a really nice vintage feel. I'm now going to come in with my Wild Wheat ink pad, and there is a great little speckle in here. And I thought this worked wonderful to just kind of fill in anywhere where you felt like it just needed some depth. So just have some fun with this one. Not too bad for a girl who doesn't know how to do collage. So I think that looks awesome. Let me set that aside, and I'm going to work with this would be my 4 by 5 1/4. I'll use the Crumb Cake ink pad here. And this is just a really nice border. I want it to go down the side of my card. Can you see how that just goes right down there and it kind of peeks out of my card? So that's what we're going for. Because this is a Queen Bee card, let's bring in that Wild Wheat and this fabulous little vintage crown. I'll add that there. And we'll add a few speckles. I won't re-ink in between, just kind of gives it a little something. Because I want to share some tips with you on stamping and cutting out little narrow strips of words. So you see we have our happy birthday here. All right, well, I sometimes struggle with this and I thought you might too. So we're going to go over some tips. First, I have just a strip of, this is a 1/2 inch by, I don't know, probably like 8 1/2. I have a million of these little strips. I do. You probably do the same. And my tip is to use your grid paper and get that piece of cardstock lined up straight. That's going to really help you that when we're looking at our stamp and where it's going to go, our cardstock's not crooked. I didn't do such a great job, and that's fine. I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to try it again. There we go. That one came out a little bit better. All right, now I'm going to come in with the word happy. We're going to try that again, but hey, I know, look at that. It took me 3 turns. So I'm going to take another piece of cardstock. I'm going to show you another little tip. All right, I think I've got 2 of those that will work, but here's my other tip. It's just another piece of scrap. So another way you might want to do this would be to stamp down at the bottom. So let me get my birthday. I'm going to flip this around so I can stamp again down here. Look, super crooked. In fact, look, I think it's that my paper was cut crooked. It's fine. And let me show you why. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that birthday down into my paper trimmer, and I'm going to use the guide here, the plastic guide, to line that up with the word birthday. Remember what I said? I didn't originally cut my cardstock straight. So let's see how we did. Now it's looking a little bit better. I used that guide to help me. So now I will come and I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side, and I'll give that a cut Now that's looking pretty good. So if you ever need to trim out words, it's a great technique. And sometimes we do shy away from it. But it really is easy to do. And it's especially easy when you've just got some scraps laying around. So there is the word birthday. I'm going to do that exact same thing here with the word happy. I'm going to take that little speckle stamp. I used it a second ago. I'm not even going to re-ink it. Just adding a little speckle. Let's see if there's anything left here on my blending brush. Again, we just want to vintagify it a little bit. All right, now we're ready to put the card together. I'll start here with the inside of my card, and this will be done with just any adhesive. I'm using Stamp & Seal, but you can use your multi-purpose glue, and we'll adhere that to the inside of the card. All right, now for the front, we're actually going to bring in a little Stampin' Dimensionals, but this first piece of the wild wheat, this one's going to go on with just adhesive. We're going to put our Stampin' Dimensionals here on our stamped piece of cardstock. Dimensionals there. Add that to that piece of wild wheat. And now for that happy birthday, no dimensionals here, just adhesive. You just kind of decide where you want those to be. This card needs some bling, so I loved these adhesive back sparkle gems. And I thought this is kind of more of a champagne color. So pretty with this card. And it adds a little sparkle, and every card needs a little sparkle. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to tie your card together. To tie it up, I'm going to use the wild wheat. This is the In Color Jute. Now, I want you to see, you're going to need about 14 to 16 inches, but look at that. That's a problem. I've got a trick for you. A dryer sheet. Guys, this is a great trick if you've ever got ribbon that wants to curl. I want you to watch this. Starts to work itself out. Now, it's going to take a few swipes through my dryer sheet. But do you see how much better that looks? Yeah, so that is a great way to kind of get some of those kinks out. Now, what you're going to do, there's a hole here in the center. This is always done from the inside to the outside. And if your jute got a little bit rough when you were running it through, and that can happen, just trim it off because that is a really small hole. When you go to pull it, it might try to separate. Work it through slowly. That's why we have plenty of extra on there. So I'm not worried if I need to trim it down. All right, we're going to do this now through that other hole. All right, we'll pull that through. Now we can just tie this in a bow. I've given you plenty of jute to work with. So again, if it's a little rough like that end is, not a problem. I'm going to tie this here in a bow. And there we go. We have created an awesome card featuring that elegant edge tag topper. Now I have another card to share with you. Before I move on to my next card, I want to let you know that there is a free download that goes along with today's video. Here you're going to have the complete supply list, the measurements for the card, everything that I used. You can even come back and watch the video if you need a little refresher on how to use that punch. And if you need to order any of the supplies, you can do that from here as well. Friends, this is a free download for you over at simplysimplestamping.com, or you can look down in the YouTube description. I have got a direct link to today's post. The measurements for my cardstock are exactly the same as the other card. I just changed up the colors. So lemon lolly, boho blue, and some basic white versus that very vanilla. My ink pads are also lemon lolly, boho blue, and a little moody mauve. For this card, I'm going to use the Bold Bouquet stamp set. I had a great happy birthday and, of course, some fabulous flowers. You can't go wrong with flowers. So for this card, we are going to kind of reverse where we're going to put that elegant tag topper. Because you see here, I'm putting it down at the bottom. The method is still the same. Slowly and gently slide your cardstock into the punch. Tap it on your table so that you're sure your cardstock is straight, and punch. Pull that out. Rotate it around. We'll do it here on the other side. And you may be wondering, could you put these in the middle? Yes, you can, but you're probably going to want to have some kind of tick mark so you can ensure that you're getting that centered in your cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and trim out that excess cardstock just like we did before. Side up. We're going to line that up at 4 1/4 of an inch and score. On the opposite side, that's where we want to score our one little piece that hangs over. Guys, look what I did. I scored the wrong one. Guess what? It doesn't matter. So should you make the same mistake I did, don't stress over it. We're just going to score the other side. It's not going to mess up your card at all. In Moody Mauve, I'm going to say, thanks for blessing my life. And then I'm going to take the larger flower. And yes, I will be going off of this cardstock, and that's okay. I want 2 flowers there. And on my basic white for the inside, I'm going to add a flower up here in the corner. And you know what? Since I've got my Moody Mauve out, I'm going to go ahead and put my happy birthday. I'll now come in with Lemon Lolly and the smaller flower. There's a smaller flower here. This one for the inside, I'm going to put one right up there on the corner. Isn't that a beautiful yellow? I just love it. Now we'll add a few flowers in here. Just kind of going a little random. There's really no right or wrong. And now our boho blue. And we have different leaves in this one. So I've got some, let's see, this is my larger one. I'm going to put these. I know you're probably going, Connie, boho blue leaves? Yes, I think it's awesome looking. Look at that. It's so bold and pretty. All right, let me set that one off to the side. Now we're going to take this little, looks like 3 leaves. This is going to help me kind of fill in more. You know what? Except right there. I think I need one of the big ones to fill in that spot. So I'll take a big one right there. And now I'll take this smaller one. And yeah, it just kind of allows me to sort of fill in, get a little bit of this boho blue in there. I've adhered that to the inside, Stampin' Dimensionals here on the front of my card. Those adhesive back sparkle gems were so perfect for my other card. Let's add them here as well. And for this card, I'm going to use the Moody Mauve jute. By the way, this all comes in a collection, so you'll get all the in colors. And I'll just bring my card in. You see, I just tied it up in the exact same way. So, friends, look what we were able to accomplish with a punch that's usually used just for tags. Yep, we're going to create some really amazing cards. My friends, even if you have purchased any of the tag toppers in the past from Stampin' Up, the card can be made the same. But I will tell you, this elegant tag topper is gorgeous. If you don't have it on your wish list, be sure to add it. Thank you everyone so much for being here. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Hey, if you did, give me a thumbs up on YouTube. I always appreciate that. And if you have not subscribed, oh my goodness, you need to be a subscriber of the channel. It's free. Click the subscribe button and ring that little bell. Then YouTube will let you know whenever I'm back with a new video. While you're at it, share the channel with your crafty friends. I'd love to have them here as well. Thank you again, everybody. Can't wait to stamp with you next time. Bye-bye.